Hello and welcome to Universal Love Law. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. I'm Eula. Thank you for joining me. So let me scoot a little closer so I can see myself. So today I wanted to make a video for you guys, and I wanted to discuss the energy of misery. Okay? This is a very important video because I think it will help people who are in life growing at a certain age, and they're realizing that you can't save anybody, you can't save everybody at least. And the older we get, we grow apart from people that are miserable, okay? And they are doomed with that energy, okay? So first and foremost, let's jump in. What is misery? Misery is an energy, okay? It's like the woman scorn. It's vengeance. It's something that is always going to attack or to hunt or to mess with the person that has mounted the spirit of misery onto them. Remember, people attract misery to them in their cycles based on the choices and decisions that they make. Their cycles, their routines, right? They vibrate on an energy or a frequency that attracts the energy of misery, okay? Remember, misery is a spirit, right? And it is, when it is called, it will appear, onto a person. And it's called based on the actions that a person is taking in life. I know people who are attracting misery right now, and usually people that are in their early 20s, they begin to see people that they love and know and grew, with change, right? Depending on the type of choices and decisions people make, they can attract the energy of misery to them. And people that attract misery really push away positive people and all of that, right? Because it's not a vibrational match, right? So people who are susceptible to attracting and mounting the energy of misery onto them are people who are, of course, on drugs, any kind of substance abuse, things not done in moderation, and a negative, foul mindset can attract, misery. It all deals with the mind, okay? So, misery lives in the mental realm, right? We're critically thinking right now, right? This is what creates philosophers. Philosophers are those who are able to critically think about a topic, present an argument, right, a case, and support the case with evidence, right, on the premises, right? Premises support the claim. So on the premises of spirituality, right, utilizing spirituality, utilizing universal laws, utilizing mysticism, teachings, an understanding of spirituality, I am going to prove why or what misery is with my critical thinking and my creative thinking objectively, thinking metaphysically, right, beyond this physical. So we know beyond the physical there are energies, there are frequencies that are gender, right, masculine and feminine. We know that if you think about how misery attacks, we would assume it to be a feminine energy, right? It could be a masculine energy, but it seems more feminine, right? And it's gender, because it has a lot to do with wrath or with vengeance, revenge energy, right? And I only say that to support the energy of, not to support the energy of misery, but to describe it. Misery, people that are miserable, right, or have mounted the energy of misery. These people are, oh, one moment, sorry about that, guys. So people that, you know, have the energy of misery on them, they have a very low energy, right? And they're always seeking to take out the spirit of misery onto others, right? The spirit of misery needs to be noticed, right? Misery, the energy of misery is one who needs attention, right? But it's a hidden, dark, like, life-sucking energy, right? So it reminds me of like a succubus or incubus energy, the spirit of misery, right? The energy of misery in its origin seems so feminine because it's like a black hole. It seems as if it's a womb or a dark womb where things are created within that womb, right? So, and this is my own perspective. You guys can build your own ideas and concepts, right? I'm just pondering the thought with you all. So I believe that, you know, misery is an energy that is dominated by the gender of feminine energy. And it's a seeking attention. He's seeking attention, right? To suck the life out of whatever it is that is giving it attention. It literally energy of like a vampire energy. Misery is vampire leech kind of energy. It needs life force to survive, right? So there are some energies that, you know, everything needs something to exist, right? And the food that is fed to the energy of the spirit of misery is life force, okay? So that's what makes the energy of misery so powerful, you know? A lot of people at a certain age begin to understand the energy of misery through the people close to them, the ones that they see drifting further away, because a person that doesn't operate in misery, right, or doesn't have the spirit of misery mounted onto them will not put up with the things that people who are miserable do, you know? If you're not miserable, if you're filled with other spirits, right, of abundance, of peace, of happiness, of love, these are not the same kind of energies. So it will not attract, right? It will repel because these energies are too high vibrational to coexist with misery. Now, I'm not knocking misery, the energy of misery, because it's a principality. It was here before me and it will be here when I'm gone. So I respect the energy of it because it is powerful beyond measure. And it is an energy that serves its purpose because it's some may think or believe that the energy of misery is a lesson and it's a teacher. So it's high-ranking energy, regardless if it's in the army of the demiurge demon, right, that rules the earth plane. You know, it doesn't matter if this energy of misery is a lower vibration. It's a high frequency in a sense of its power and in its ranking, because all things have a hierarchy. Okay, when misery mounts itself on someone, It is a very powerful energy that is there for a reason. It's not there for no reason. It was called. So this is where we take power and ownership over our life choices and the reason why we become who we are. Spirituality teaches us to take full responsibility for what we become. Because any of the spirit that we have attracted to us is to our own doing or undoing. Okay? So I know that a lot of people that are young or my age, or a lot of people that are older, right? Younger than me, because you know I'm almost 30. They begin to see the ones that they're very close to drift away when they're, you know, in a high spirit, and they're not. They begin to have other friends that are attracted to them and they're similar to them. Birds of a feather flock together. So if it's someone you know has bad character and they have friends around them, they are similar, okay? So, because, you know, energies that are not the same cannot coexist. So the energy of misery is a black hole energy. It sucks the life force, because a person who is miserable likes attention from other people, but they do things subconsciously or consciously. These are the very dangerous miserable people, the ones who have accepted and embodied the spirit of misery and doesn't even care. Usually people that have one of those the spirit of misery, also have other negative or lower vibrational and I know I said that I know I said earlier that misery is like a high vibration, but I didn't mean it in the sense of a high frequency. I meant it in the sense of it is very powerful, right? But usually people that have the energy of misery around them also have other energies that, you know, are mounted on them, like low self-esteem, right? Hatred, rage. These are all frequencies that can coexist with misery. So and misery is so powerful because it steps to get to misery. People don't just become misery like immediately. It's something that is built up of a lot of negative energies, right? Spirits that have built up in that person that have called in a very strong, powerful energy of misery. Okay? Remember, misery serves its purpose to those who deserve just due. Okay? Isn't everything happens for a reason. You know, you attract misery to you for a reason. Okay? So when a person, like, back to the age thing, people that begin to see misery kind of manifesting, it hurts us to see the ones we love become miserable. But we cannot save someone who is allowing the spirit of misery to come in, because it's powerful. Misery can manipulate the person it's mounted, okay, with pride and ego. Misery is not biased to your class or your gender or your race. Misery can mount itself on the richest person in the world or the poorest person in the world. You see why I say misery is a high-ranking energy in spirit. It's a principality that exists with a purpose, created by source for a reason. Or maybe not created by source. Maybe it was created by one of the guardians of this realm, a demon or a higher, you know, fallen angel or something. Who knows? But we know the energy of misery is higher ranking than it is of poverty, right? Because poverty only strikes a certain group of people, right? Whereas misery stretches far and wide. It stretches over the bounds of, you know, the individuals or the groups. It can stretch across groups, right? You could be a young person that's miserable. You could be an old person that's miserable. You can be, you know, wealthy and have a lot and still be miserable. Because misery is called in by the state of your ego and the state of your pride. Depending on your pride or your ego and the characters within that aspect of self will attract the energy of misery to you. So that's why you always must check your ego. One always must check their pride. Ego can corrupt one who is using it to have power over others, right? Ego can be used for great reason too. Excuse me. You can be wanting to put your business out there and become more competitive. And that will require you to have a little bit more self-esteem and build your pride. And it will allow your ego to grow because you are tapping into your inner strength, your willpower, right? And some things require ego and some things require pride. Just a fact of human nature. You know, if you have a small ego and you're attacked by an animal, they're going to kill you. But if you have a big ego and you believe that if this animal attacks you, you're going to attack it back, the battle is won before it is even fought. Okay? Always remember that with all aspects of life. Every battle is either won or lost before it is ever fought. Do you think I'm going to take on something I know I cannot win? A lot of people do that, not realizing that they don't have a developed ego enough to take on that fight or that battle or that journey. One must truly understand that when it comes to your ego, it has to have a discipline. It has to be taken with balance and care, you know? And a lot of people don't understand the energy of ego because we don't have these kind of conversations. But depending on your state of ego and pride, you will attract misery in your life. Because the most powerful people in the world, their egos are inflated, huge. And they have a problem because there's never, once you tap into having the hunger, desire for power, we're talking about the billionaires that don't even need to be in the positions that they're in. They just merely do it because of power. These people attract misery to them very easy because they're always seeking something that can never be tangible. You can never physically, yeah, you might see it in the numbers, and yeah, you may see it in your accolades or your success. But people who are literally driven by power and have a spirit of a power-hungry spirit on them can attract misery like this because they can coexist with each other. Power and misery, yeah, those go together. So you see how you can look at certain energies that no one wants, right? Nobody wants to be miserable, but a lot of people are, and they cannot admit it to themselves. A lot of people I know, I'm seeing them become miserable because they're not working on the shadow aspect of themselves. They're depending on their ego and their pride to not face what's really going on inside. And they're attracting misery to them. And that feels horrible. I've been miserable. I've attracted the energy of misery to me when I was in a negative state of cycle thinking. And this was when, you know, sometimes misery can be a teacher of short-term lesson, right? It may be the feeling of misery that you attract to you based on your circumstance at that moment of time in your life. If you've ever been tested by Saturn, right? The one that brings all your tangible wealth or takes it all away. If you've ever been tested by that energy where you're getting, you know, you lose your car, lose your house, you're homeless, you're this and that. You hit rock bottom and you begin to kind of look at what you have and compare it to others, like, but I have this. And you know, when you're walking in a store with $100 pair of shoes on and you're feeling like my shoes, you know, when you're in a lower vibration in that way, where you're judging yourself from everything external and judging what other people have more than you and what you don't have. And when crisis hits, right, where the resources run out, no money is there, no help is there, misery can attract to that person, because misery is powerful. It's called, the energy of misery is called like so easy. Okay, my bad, I had to get an instant because I'm talking about a very powerful energy and I'm not conjuring it up, you know. And so I just want to light an incense to break up the field and where I'm speaking, and to just break it up, because just talking about certain energies can have you attracted to you, you know. So when you do things intentionally, like break up the energy with the energy of fire and air, right? You can command your commands out. Like, I am not claiming the energy of misery on me. I'm not invoking it. But in a sense you are when you're talking about certain things, right? So that's why I do these little quirky, weird things, right? There's a reason, intention behind that. But yes, I respect all of the creation, the duality in creation, right? I respect it all because it was all created by a powerful source of all. So I have to respect it, right? I don't have to like it or want it or desire it, but I have to respect it. If I had a rattle, I'd probably shake that. Or a bell. You really can change the whole atmosphere, right? And command your environment to be as you speak it to be, with these different elements. And this is all, you know, what spiritualists do to, you know, hopefully what I'm saying helps you in your journey as you become deeper into metaphysics and develop your spiritual awareness. So, and go with your intuition, right? I knew to light an incense. You know, those are different things you can do intentionally to just set your standard, right? So, when it comes to the energy of misery, we know that a person, the way it feels is horrible, right? To be miserable. And I'm only telling you this because I've been in a state of misery. I've been homeless. I have lost love, right? I have, you know, spent time without my children. I have experienced a range of pains and sacrifices that initially misery crept through, but thank God I was born with this optimism, right? I don't know, maybe my spirit in a past life, my incarnations, right, I have practiced it, you know, and or I've been at rock bottom to where now I have these tools that I've developed and cultivated throughout lifetimes to where it's not hard for me to pull myself out of misery. But misery can claim a person based on their state of mind, their mental state. Their mental state when it comes to their ego and their pride. Their mental state. It doesn't matter if you're homeless or poor. No, because misery can creep in when you're at your height of success. This is why you see a lot of powerful people who are doing evil things, because misery is on them. Misery is a doomed energy. You understand? And it vibrates on a frequency that is so powerful, I would say, that when it claims its victim, it physically affects the person who has mounted misery onto them. People that are miserable in real life, like, this is why I say have compassion for others, because it's some people in the world that, you know, they are where they are, and have compassion. You know, you don't have to deal with them, talk to them on the phone, because misery loves company, right? So they're going to want attention. Miserable people need attention because it's an energy that is in them and on them that sucks life force. It's like a succubus, incubus energy, like I mentioned earlier. And it's so important to know who you're dealing with, because if they have the spirit of misery on them, that could come in the form of many things to suck your life force. Miserable people there's many ways misery can show its face to you. It can be a parent who abuses their child because they're miserable and they get life force. Not them, the spirit that's mounted on them does, but they suck the life force and happiness out of a poor child just to feed the energy that is mounted on them. It can be a sexual partner. If you're with someone who is truly miserable, they can take your energy in the form of incubus or succubus, right? Through sex. You ever had sexual intercourse with someone and you feel drained after or low? The next day you're just grumpy and mean. They have an energy of misery on them. It could be that. It's complex. Spiritualists know, you know. Real spiritual people who know how to read energy, they're able to identify it, right? Misery. It's just misery. Now, I'm not just going to talk about misery and like what it is and define it metaphysically, and that's it. I'm also going to talk about misery and how to overcome it and how to detach from the energy. But just know, when the energy of a principality has mounted itself to you, a powerful, higher ranking spirit of lower frequency, or of a strong, high frequency of a lower vibration, is not going to want to detach easy. There's a lot of things that must go on to detach it. Sometimes it even involves you to go seek help. But like, it's some people I know miserable as fuck, and they will not be able to get that misery off of them. They will need spiritual guidance. They will need to go to someone. But first they have to recognize that that's the reality. And the spirit of misery will utilize ego to, if someone tells a person that's miserable, you change, something is off with you, guess what misery is gonna do? Who changed? I didn't change, you changed. You know, on and on and on. Negative, negative, negative. Misery will come in the form of many things. A friend who always calls you with problems. Every time we talk, it's a problem. They have the spirit of misery. The spirit is feeding off of your willingness to give it life and to communicate, converse, attention, give it in attention. Misery can come in the form of someone that you bump into out. You can go to the store and bump into misery in a negative person, which is like someone who is the grocery store clerk, or the person, the bank teller, who is so negative, taking your car from you, not being kind to you, not giving good customer service. There's misery, waiters and waitresses that have you waiting for a long time, not, remembering to bring the things you asked, just sloppy, poor customer service. That's misery, the energy. Okay, misery can come in the form of a guardian, or someone who is in the family, an elder who always has something negative to say at every get together. Because misery needs to feed from the attention it gets. It seeks attention. It needs attention because it needs life force to exist. It feeds off of lower vibration or negativity or sadness. Oh, it loves sadness. Sadness is juice to it. Sadness is rage is cake. It loves it. If a miserable person can make you enraged or make you angry or make you, it's eating up all of that energy. It's sweet. You understand? And so I just want people to really merge the gap so we can begin to start seeing the spirit for what it is. We don't need to use words anymore. We just could tap into energy, right? I'm at the stage where I can stand next to someone or just look at them and feel their energy. And they can't lie to me, because men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. What is numbers? Measurement. What do you use measurement for? To measure an energy. You can measure a frequency, right? Frequency is measurement, right? It is hertz, right? The vibration doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. So this is why there's people who are powerful in the spiritual community that don't need all these initiations and things to be able to do spiritual work, because they're tapped in tune. They have intuition. They have cultivated their intuition, which is just the feeling that you can get from around you, inside of you. You're so tapped in tune and aware. You understand? Who becomes miserable? A lot of people become miserable. I feel like I should have did this on a live, because then people could have been asking questions while we're talking. But a lot of people could be miserable. Misery is not bias, like I said before. But sure tell of a miserable person is anyone, of course, living in filth, living in, these are easy to see, because misery it can camouflage itself with the general population, or it can camouflage or hide behind money and things, that's what makes misery so complex. But a spiritualist can identify the energy immediately, because it's a feeling, right? We'll talk about the feeling and how the energy of misery feels, right? So the energy of misery feels really bad. It feels like a burning energy inside of you that's just pulling at your heart, pulling it, banging out your head. It's just anger. It's uncomfortable. People that are miserable, they're just mad at another person because of whatever. And this is why it's so important for us to check ourselves at all times. Spirituality is a 24/7 thing. when you're a spiritual person, you're never not spiritual. You know, everything is spiritual to you. So it's because you understand you're susceptible to being attacked by any type of energy at any moment. Any moment, something could tap into your energy and possess you, to feed through you. And this is why it's so important to know thyself. Claim what is your energy and don't claim what is not your energy, because that could be something that is mounted onto you. And the energy of misery feels horrible. It makes you miserable people. Just think about misery for a second. Miserable people, they want to call people to start mess and drama, you know. They have a lot of friends that are very fake and phony. They love to talk to and talk about other people's business. They like to put two people against each other. It's manipulative energy, absolutely. But the thing is, what makes misery so powerful in a high-ranking spirit, in the demiurge or in this realm of reality, where it exists and it serves its purpose because it's here for a reason. Misery is a spirit that was created for a reason. Okay? So anyone that doesn't have respect for spirits, no matter what it is, you know, I don't have to agree with you, hang with you, kick it with you, but I'm going to respect you because I know that you are made of the same thing that our source creator made me of, right? We're all made of the same. But we have differences in our purpose and reasoning of being. There's people who have allowed misery to completely embody them. I know you know those people. But misery is very manipulative, and this is what makes it a high-ranking spirit, the spirit of misery. Okay, is because it manipulates the person that it's attached to, and it also it uses manipulation to suck life force out of other people. So miserable people will always have you upset, angry, or on edge or in fear because they're miserable. And that's why it's so important for people who are on their path of self-discovery to really get away from people who are miserable. People that want to hang out every day, I mean, that could be different things, but like, you know, a person that wants to hang out every day that's miserable, because you will feel this subconscious feeling like, damn, every time I'm with you, I don't accomplish nothing. I lose money. I feel like I wasted time. But remember, the energy of misery will disguise itself, and it will use flattery, charm, fun. It will, to keep sucking your life out. But it eventually will, it's like it camouflages itself, but then it glitches because it shows its true self. This is how it comes through people. This is how I've seen it play out through people. I've seen the energy of misery have, a person can't even smile. Like, they'll be like, I'm trying to smile like a fake smile. They'll be like, and I'll be like, yeah, I know what you are. I know exactly what you are. You gotta play a fool to catch a fool, though. But when a very strong energy of misery has mounted itself to someone, it could talk to the damn person that it is mounted on. Or the person that is mounted on is a very high-minded person, meaning they have their spiritual gifts that they're tapped into. So when a person that's miserable knows that you know that they're miserable, now they don't care if you see them glitch. They don't care if they have to, get their energy from you in an aggressive way. The cat's out the bag. The cat is out the bag, and you know it. They know you know it. And so now it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get you for everything I can get until you run away from me, or what you going to keep giving me your life force? And I've seen this for my own 2 eyes. I've seen this from my own 2 eyes. So I'm not just saying something I read in a book and what I'm saying, a lot of people might not even want to hear some shit like this. But people that are on their journey of understanding energy and spirits, right? They're going to take heed, or at least take what works, what makes sense in this video, and leave the rest. But misery is an energy. Okay, let's wrap this up, okay? Because I do want to talk about ways to overcome misery. Okay, so overall, remember, misery is a energy that I believe is feminine. I believe it's in a very dark womb space, and it sucks life's force through it like a portal. I believe that the spirit of misery does not have any bias in who it can attach itself to. It just attaches to a willing candidate that calls it to them, because your energy will attract misery. And that's the key. It needs to tap into you and to attach to you. It doesn't need you to say, hey, I want you to come over here. And, it doesn't need you to call it in a literal sense. It needs your frequency to match it for it to attach to you. So remember, having a lot of ego and pride and feeling like you're above others, or feeling like it's big I, little you, or people that, crave and desire power, or people that are going through a lot of problems in their life and don't know how to deal with them, are susceptible to attracting the energy of misery to them, right? And if you, like, one bad apple spoils the bunch. If you are around a lot of miserable people, eventually you will become miserable if you're not strong and powerful. But it don't matter how strong and powerful you are, you cannot be around miserable people and stay in that, because you will eventually take on the characteristics just to fit in, just to get along, or they're going to attack you, because miserable people attract to life force. So if they see you're all happy and positive all the time, they're going to attract to you. I want your life force. You see why you weren't fitting into those groups, or why they kept picking with you? Because the energy is feeding. You understand? Now, this is just the overall understanding of the spirit, okay? And when I say it's a feminine energy, don't get it twisted. Men could be very miserable. I know a man that is on his way and journey, and it scares me because we're young. I'm like, damn, I can't even imagine where he's going to be 10 years from now. But I'll be able to see it in that cricket smile. And he approaches so charming. Hey, how are you? But the eyes don't lie. And the energy don't lie. And if I smile and I give you a full smile, and that person smiles back at me with the cricket smile, I know that energy is still mounted on them. And I'm going to stay a million miles away from that motherfucker, because I know they're not themselves anymore. They're sharing their physical vessel with a spirit, and a high-ranking, powerful one that and knows my light. Okay? I'm somebody in the spirit realm. Hello? So I say, I have to be careful. I can't. It's like, that movie True Blood with Sookie, where she was a fairy around the vampires. And the fairies went into instinct. They went into extinction because the vampires loved their blood, because it got the vampire high. And it just, so people, the vampires loved the fairy blood because it was like so good. But if it was a fairy they found, they would keep the fairy as like a slave, because they didn't want to drink the blood until it was like till the fairy dies. And then they're like, damn, I'm never gonna have that blood again, you know. I know it's crazy. I know. I loved True Blood when that came out. Me and my sisters used to watch that every episode, and we was hooked to that back in the days. And it was like when our cable went off, so all we had was DVDs, and somebody brought over the whole, all like not five, but like three of the like series. So we was able to watch like the first season 10 videos, second season 10 videos. We was juiced. Like, we was like, oh, this is so good. But anyways, you know, it was a lot of metaphysical truth in there, you know, because you don't know what you are. I mean, I'm not going to go to this extent and say a person is like a fairy, but, you know, being enlightened and being tapped in tune and being a high frequency being consciously aware of sigils and signs and symbols, and knowing how to use your alchemy to manifest, and being a conscious creator here. You're a powerful spirit. And you know, a vampire, you know, in the literal sense would be with the fangs, but in the metaphysical sense, it would be a person or spirit that is sucking the life force out of you. So I loved, you know, that. I loved that metaphor in that video, in that movie, right? True Blood. But yeah, so we know that it's not biased to gender. Like, yeah, a man or female could be misery, but I think misery is a feminine energy in its nature. Because it sucks in like a portal, and that's what women do, right? And so, yeah, hell has no fury like a woman scorned. This is an angry woman. You know, they're miserable off of what was done to them. I didn't even get into what makes a person miserable, right? Or maybe I did. Oh, maybe I did. So anyways, let's end this video because it's getting long and I gotta go to my other job in a minute. So to overcome the energy of misery, to detach from it, one must first, like they say in their AA meetings, have to admit it. They have to call its name. Like, you know, in spiritual movies, you have to call the name of the demon so that it can leave. You know, they put that shit in movies for a reason. You have to know that you are doing miserable shit. You have to see the patterns. You have to see that you're negative and you're calling people and just eat like something. You feel like you're just attracting negative shit in your life. Because some people do it subconsciously, not knowing misery is mounted to them. You know? And some people are just so angry and they don't understand it's because they're miserable and they're causing that shit on themselves. And that's why I say it's your responsibility to keep your frequency high. This is a 24/7 thing. Okay? And so, yeah, like the energy of misery will mount to you if you are not aware of it. And if you are not aware of your ways, or if you're stubborn as hell, set in your ways. People like this are the worst because they will never get the energy of misery off of them. But if you ever go through a spout where misery is kind of showing its hand in your life, you know, and that could be anyone. I'm telling you, it could be me. If something happens and I just start thinking miserable and waking up miserable, thinking all like, you know, I called it in. I'm calling the spirit in with my actions. So it's so important to know that you have to identify it and call it out. You know? And then once you're consciously aware that you're doing those things or you're having the traits of misery on you, then you can begin the reverse effect, which is writing down. I would say write down what you're doing that's negative. You know? But this is hard to do with people that are not really trying to work on themselves, you know? or they don't, or they're just not aware. You know, a lot of people in the world are just operating and moving around, and they don't even realize that they're fucking miserable as hell, you know? But for those who are consciously trying to really work on their self and, you know, get that burning feeling, like I said, that banging of the head and that pulling on the heart, like that feeling where you're just angry, right? That could be the energy of misery. And to just acknowledge your triggers. What makes you upset? Okay, now you have identified it. So now whenever those triggers come back around, right, which it could be somebody doing better than you, right? It could be somebody having more money than you or having a better car than you, and that envious spirit comes through, and then you begin to, you know, it fucks with you. You know, because you're thinking about it. It could be somebody that did you wrong, that every time you think about them, you get miserable, angry, because, you know, and then they have shown you, like that other person that cheated on you or hurt you or beat your ass, now you're over there all miserable and mad because they made you that way. But they didn't make you that way. You called misery into your own life when you were in that low state, instead of rewriting your script or understanding the situation for what it was worth. Instead, now every time you think of that person, you angry. That person triggers the spirit of misery that lives within you. So it's so important to know. I'm not saying you guys, but I'm saying in general when we're discussing. So it's important for you to know that misery is something that one must become aware of their triggers, what's causing the misery, right? And just become consciously aware. I would just say really, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this instant because it's like burning. Oh my God. You have to become consciously aware of what triggers you, what makes you act negatively, or what makes you, you know, just become a miserable person. Like what makes you show that energy, you know? Identifying, and that's shadow work, okay? You can walk into a store and get triggered, and a song can bring you back to a time where you was with your ex and then get sad or angry. Like, I hate this song. That shows the misery in you. Because you are still holding on to something that is attached to misery. You have to, in order to overcome energy, you have to misery, you have to lighten your load. You have to free yourself. Attachment, clinging on, being prideful, feeling as if these things are yours and these people are yours, or this what you want is, this is what I want, this is what I want. This, you didn't make me happy, so I'm gonna do this. This is miserable shit. Happy people, they're not attached to anything. They could walk outside and that whole ice cream just fall off. And they're like, oh, it's okay. I'll just go buy another one. You know, they're abundant. They're not, my ice cream. Get over it. Let it go. Things happen. Things happen in life. Oh, well, let it go. That's what I would say to my friend that is so miserable now. Or my ex that is so miserable now. Or my parent that is so miserable now. And I'm just speaking. I would say, let whatever it is that you're going through go. Let it go. Because it's making you a miserable, angry person. And it's going to destroy you. Because misery is sucking in so much life force through your vessel. Right? And you're not eating off of it. You're getting the negative side effects, which is accumulation of energy. Accumulation of energy eventually turns into cancer. You understand? Or turns into diabetes, or turns into some type of sickness or illness. All because of the energy of misery that's mounted to you. Because you called it in, not even being aware. So you see why I say, this video was important to make because misery is something so complex and we all are susceptible to being it. We all have not cleared the misery out of us. To be fully, whole and complete and fully cleared of misery would mean that every trigger, you will have no triggers because you're so whole and complete. You're so detached. You understand that you're abundant. You understand you're connected to source. Anything you want, you know, you just have to put left foot in front of the right foot in front of the left foot to go and get it. And sometimes all you gotta do is use this mind and this visualization and it will just fall in your face. Like, you know, what's for you is for you. Can't nobody take it away. We need to let go of things that make us miserable because we lost or we wanted it longer. We couldn't let it go. We wanted to hold on to it. Okay? But this is a very long video and I did discuss a lot of information regarding the spirit of misery. Let me know what you guys think about the energy of misery. Have you ever encountered a very miserable person and how was that for you? Did you overcome it or are you still dealing with their ass? Because some people, they're miserable and we just can't seem to let go of them, right? That's that unconditional love syndrome that we all have too for, you know, people. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these videos in the comment below.